Cool, that was a bit of a drive, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. Cheers to paying the tolls, though.
That's all right. Cheers for doing the driving. What a place to spend a week.
I'll go first, thank you very much. I've been driving.
And we get to tell people this is work.
What's Luke up to this week?
It's raining.
I know.
Fine.
He's probably having a good time. So we're actually getting ready to go into our third night here at Les Quis, but we have just changed venue. So we're about to do the last 2 nights on Elf Lake, but we did the first 2 nights on a lake just behind us called Bays Lake.
Bays Lake is fundamentally the runs water of the complex, if you like, and it's designed mainly to be aimed at sort of beginner anglers, dads and sons that want a nice easy week's fishing, catching a few fish, and yeah, luckily Curly did put a couple on the bank.
I did. So we got here, I'd say mid-afternoon or late afternoon a couple of days ago, and first thing we done was just dropped all the stuff in the swim and went down to the lodge and had some food. That's one of the lovely things here, is that we have the food package, which we'll go on to in a bit. And we had some grub, and then we saw the clouds rolling in. Now driving here, we hit temperatures of 33.5 degrees, I think the highest we saw. Yeah. And it was only a matter of time until the weather turned on us. Sure enough, it had to happen right as we were about to set up. So we're a little bit of a dash back to the swim to start trying to figure out how we were going to approach it for the following night.
After leading around for a little while, we soon found that the water out in front of us was flat bottom over roughly 10 foot everywhere, clean, or some slightly silty areas, but nothing really to go at, no sort of major features other than, of course, some absolutely amazing marginal snags.
Yes, now these marginal snags is pretty much what I focused on the far bank, and I think it was between 20 and 24 wraps was my 2 longest rods, and it was a case of getting as tight as I could to those bushes. We saw a few fish roll there. We've been told by the owner that that was a good area to focus on, so that was very much what I focused on. After a few casts with the bare lead on the marker rod, I could see just how clean it was, feel just how clear it was, and put the rod away pretty quickly because we were having lightning around us. I thought it was probably best to take the rods out of the sky and have them in the sky as least as possible, as less time as possible. And it was a case of just picking out some rigs, and then the heavens absolutely opened, didn't it? I think the bites came fairly consistently from myself. Struggled a bit more for yourself, but I think I had several smaller ones and hoping that some of the bigger ones came along. It was consistent all through the trip. And then going into the second night, once I got the spot really nailed on, we came back from tea, and I think I had 4 fish before dark.
Yeah, it was like 4 fish before 10 o'clock or something
so
crazy
it's
like
quite
that.
mad action on there, as you'd expect from the water on it. It's meant to be a bit easier to fish. We're a little bit unfortunate on the size, we're not going to lie. The lake's recently spawned, and clearly the young horny teenagers of the lake are the ones that are most ravenous, and they were the ones that were snaffling the baits up as quickly as they could. I
also managed to nick a couple of bites, one of which may or may not have been on Curly's rods while he was not in the swim.
I was actually filming a 49-pounder for Rob, who's also on site. Again, we'll get onto that in a minute.
Yeah, so I managed one on Curly's rods and then one on my own.
But that does bring us up to speed with where we are now. So we're coming onto this lake with a bit of confidence. We've caught fish, so we're not going home from France under a blank. But we do want to get something a bit more significant when it comes to the size of things. Now this is Elf Lake, and we're going to learn a bit more about this. We've had the rods out for a couple of hours, but I actually think it's pretty much time to go down for food again soon, isn't it? Yeah. So we'll probably talk to you more about this lake after we've got a bit of grub on our bellies, or maybe even tomorrow morning, depending on how we're feeling and how many beers we have with our roast dinner. But I'm very confident for the next 2 nights, and I think there is definitely something a bit more special on the cards out of this one.
I go the hardest. Bring the pain, not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard.
Well, we made it back to our swim.
Much heavier.
Much heavier. Dinner was absolutely fantastic. You definitely can't moan about the food if you come and stay at Les Quis. Quick update on the swim itself. Obviously, we've got all our rods back out.
And the fish are showing. That's the
Curly
main
has had
thing.
about 4 fish showing over the top of one of his rods, so he's feeling rather hopeful for this evening.
And knowing that from what they were chatting about down at the meal with some of the other locals and regulars, the last time a 20 came out of here was a year ago or so.
Yeah.
And that's a one-off. Like, odds are a bite is 30 plus regardless.
Yeah.
So anything smaller than that would be very unlucky. We probably just jinxed it. But likelihood is we catch something that's going to be £30 plus, and they do go up to over £60 in it potentially. So very exciting.
Yeah, a very exciting night ahead. So we'll catch up with you guys in the morning.
Well, I've been telling my wife I've been having my ad hot water porridge oats for breakfast, but my waistline's going to say something a bit different when I go home, because yet another lovely full English fry up from the lodge this morning, so completely set up for the day after a good night's sleep as well, feeling refreshed and very confident going into this session. And although we haven't caught anything ourselves that are of decent size just yet, our whistles have been wet throughout this session by other people catching. Starting with this lake, one of our bosses, Joe, was on here, and he was lucky enough to catch one of the nice 40s yesterday, a 46-pound mirror, I believe. And just behind him is Rob. He's on Old Lake, which is obviously the oldest one on here, which we'll get into all the lakes in a second. He's had a great session so far. After his first capture, I think was a mid or low 20. He's actually then consistently caught 3 40-pounders on the bounce. A really good size average from there, and really lovely fish as well. And then going on to the Long Lake, which is at the back of the complex, there's a couple of chaps fishing there at the moment, and they again have been catching consistently. So really having a good session. And I just got back from filming one of them having a 70-pound catfish. So if catfish is something you're into, there's a few of them in these venues as well. So there's fish coming out all around the complex, and hopefully it's going to be our turn next with something much more sizable. Now I think I can hear a quad bike coming down the track, so that's probably Bob, and he's going to run through a bit more about this venue, the complex, and how you can get involved with fishing this place yourself.
Hello, I'd like to welcome you all to the Les Quis complex. I'm Bob Hodges, the on-site fishery manager. I just thought I'd give you all a quick sort of overview of what we're about and what we offer at this complex. One of our key points that we focus on here is to ensure that you get the absolute most out of your fishing experience and holiday here in France. If you do decide to come to Les Quis as a fishing complex in France, you might be interested to know how we get you here and what the crack is. So obviously we organise trips from the UK straight to the fishery. This is done on a 52-seat luxury coach from a pickup point in Kent. The coach normally arrives at the car park at around 11 o'clock. Just down the road from the secure car park, we do have a pub that sort of know us as the fishery, where they welcome you all in. They do serve food up to about 9 o'clock, I believe. So it is quite nice to get down there quite early, meet the other guys on the trip, get some food, have a few drinks, socialise with the other guys, and get to sort of build up a relationship already with the other people on the week. From that point, we normally get the 2:30 crossing from Dover across to Calais, and then from Calais it's about 4.5 hours to the complex. That normally means you arrive at the complex in between 8:30 and 9:30, depending on the travel times and whether the boats are running on time, which normally does run really smoothly. The coach company that we use is a very professional company, 52-seater, like I said, luxury coach, plenty of room for the equipment as well. So you haven't got to worry if you are panicking about whether I can get enough stuff on the coach for your week's fishing. When you arrive to the complex, once we've unloaded your gear from the trailer and underneath the coach, we normally give you guys about an hour and a half to have a walk around the complex, get your bearings, have a look at some of the swims and the lakes that you might have heard about. At this point, we do hold a draw. The draw works on almost like a watercraft draw, so you will pick a number out the hat. Number 1 picks their swim first, and if you're unfortunate to pick number 18 out, you will have the last choice of swim. One of the things we do pride ourselves on, however, though, if you are number 18 out the draw, there's always swims to pick from. It's not like you're going to end up in the only swim left. There's spare swims for the anglers. So you've always got options. And also because of that, if for whatever reason after a couple of days you're fishing a certain swim, you're not quite fancying it or seeing fish somewhere else in a quiet area of the lake, you can always move off, which gives you so many different fishing opportunities as your week goes on. We have full-time on-site bailiffs. As well as myself, I have either 1 or 2 staff members who are here to ensure that you get the most out of your week. They'll be here to help you get your gear to your swim with the quad and the trailer, as well as giving you lots of advice and tips on the areas that normally sort of produce a lot of fish, and also tactics that we found that have been working in the past and from the previous weeks. So the history of Les Quis is, this complex was established in 1992. Originally, they just started off with the old lake, which then evolved into them gaining the other 3 lakes on the complex. Now, these guys were the first ever English owned carp fishery in France who were organising trips from England to France. We had a lot of the big named carp anglers coming over and fishing the venue. The likes of Clive Williams, Martin Locke. We've even had Danny Fairbrass, Damien Clark coming over and fishing during a pretty famous competition over here called the 4x4 Challenge, which I think is still available to see on YouTube, as well as lots and lots of other names over the years. We still have 4 lakes on the complex. As you can imagine, very, very well established lakes. The scenery here is spectacular. One of my favourite looking lakes, I have to admit, would be the Bay Lake. So the Bay Lake consists of 3 bays, hence the name the Bay Lake. This is a fantastic looking tree-lined lake with lots of lily beds and shallow gravel bars splitting the bays up, which, as you can imagine, gives you fantastic fishing opportunities. And every swim has lots and lots of different areas that you look at and just think, that screams carp. It's a very, very heavily stocked venue with lots of fish ranging between mid-doubles to mid-30s. However, there is still some monsters lurking in the depths, with the lake record being 55 pounds. The joy of the Bay Lake is you have no idea what the next bite's going to be. It could be a double, it could be a 30, it could even be a 50, and it offers some fantastic fishing. So the Bay Lake consists of a 14.5 acre lake, which is split into 3 bays. Because there's 10 swims for 6 anglers, there's so many options to move around if for whatever reason you don't fancy the swim that you're fishing, or if the fish move out of your bay. There's also great opportunities to be social if you'd like to. The point area on the Bay Lake consists of 4 swims. And also, if one person picks a swim that's fishing back into a bay, we make sure that we close the other one off so that no swims conflict with each other. When it comes to the old lake, it's 11 acres. Over that 11 acres, there's 7 swims, so there's plenty of room for fishing. We like to give everyone a lot of options for their week's fishing. Lovely tree-line margins and lots of underwater features to find, which give you so many opportunities for different fishing scenarios. So the stock level in the old lake consists mainly of fish from 25 to mid-40. As well as that though, there's a massive head of 40 plus commons in there, a massive head of 50 plus fish as well, with the odd 60 swimming around in the depths. Right, moving on to the Elf Lake. So this lake's roughly 8 acres in size with 6 swims around it, but however we only let 5 anglers fish it. Again, this is because 2 of the swims can conflict with each other, so if one of them swims is picked, we shut the other one to ensure that you get the most out of your week's fishing. So the Elf Lake doesn't have as many fish in it as some of the other lakes here at Les Quis. However, the fish size in here is phenomenal. The average size of the fish is around the 40-pound mark. So if you can manage to wink at a few of the fish out of this lake, you're in for a really good week. We've had some massive hits. Just last year, one of the guys had 14 fish over 40 pounds in a week, including a couple of 50-pounders. This lake also has a big, big head of 50s, as you can imagine, with the average size being 40 pounds, and also a couple of 60-pounders lurking in its depths. The complex record was held on this lake at 68 pounds. You'll be very, very unlucky to catch a fish under 30 pound in this lake. Through a little bit of management over the last few years, we're trying to bring this lake on to be something really special, and we're getting there as we speak. Like I say, the average size of this fish in this lake is just increasing and increasing year upon year. So last but not least, this brings us on to the Long Lake. This lake is 14.5 acres. It's sort of split into 2 by a footbridge halfway down the lake. Again, 8 swims across this lake, so loads and loads of room for your fishing. So the stock levels on the Long Lake are considerably higher than the Old Lake and the Elf Lake. This lake consists of lots of fish ranging from 20 pounds to mid-30, but lots and lots of fish still over that mid-30 into the 50-pound bracket. So aside from the fishing here at Les Quis, we aim to make your stay as comfortable as possible. We have a main fishing lodge which is equipped with TV and Wi-Fi, a charging station to charge up all your electronics, and a drinks fridge so you ensure you can get cold drinks during your stay, and some snacks as well. This is also where we prepare the meals. The meals consist of a full English breakfast every morning, which we normally serve at 9 o'clock, and some fantastic main meals in the evening around 5 or 6 o'clock, depending on the time of year. So as well as the main lodge, we have 2 very spacious wet room style showers and 2 toilets situated very close to the main lodge. So here at Les Quis, we love to pride ourselves on making sure that you guys get the most as possible out of your week. Our staff are here to look after you, not only for your fishing, but anything else you need. And we will wait hand on foot to ensure that you get the best week possible out of your holiday. We like to ensure the maximum health for our fish and the water quality. So because of this, we do not allow people to bring their own boilies with them. However, we do provide 2 top quality companies who provide our boilies for us. One being Palatrax and the other being A2. On top of that, I also prepare fresh maize daily on the complex, again to ensure that I know it's been prepared properly, so we do not allow anyone to bring their own bait with them. So for any more information, head to the website where you can also book online.
Well, it's the final evening.
This is it. We've done all the hard work.
Last chance saloon. How are you feeling?
Confident, but I feel confident every evening. So hopefully this one is actually not hollow.
Fingers crossed. Good luck. Hope it happens.
Cheers.
Good morning. There's a rather sombre mood in Camp Ian and Curly this morning.
The fact that we've woken up to the glorious surroundings we're in has softened the blow somewhat, but yeah, the fish that we were craving and desperately after just didn't show up last night. But absolutely thoroughly enjoyable time. We've got a big thank you to Bob, who's been really helping us out, all the chefs, all the staff that have been here to make it so welcoming and hospitable. It really has made this stay like above and beyond what it would have been if they hadn't been here.
Yeah, this is 100% the best French venue that I've ever been to.
Yeah.
For being looked after, the fish are amazing that we've seen, not necessarily caught. And yeah, the venue itself is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
What more could you really ask for? If you want a nice peaceful week away from all the stresses of life, then I can't think of many places better to spend it than this.
Definitely. And the only annoying thing is that our bosses showed us up.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
So for more information on this venue, please do check out the link in the description below. Have a look on the website. There's so much more information on all the venues, and of course you can book on there, as Bob was saying as well. We couldn't highly recommend this enough. Does that make sense? Highly recommend this enough?
Yeah, it's fun.
It's been a long week.
We'll see you in the next one.
Ta-da.